Hey everybody, Grady here of This Mormon Life, and I've got another Mormon movie review for you. I just saw Star Wars Rogue One, and it's arguably my favorite Star Wars movie. Rogue One is basically the prequel to the very first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. It is basically the story of that opening crawl that you see at the very beginning of the film. It tells the thrilling story of how a band of freedom fighters work together to steal the Death Star's secret blueprints. And I have to say, I loved this movie. One of the coolest shots you see in this movie, and they show it a couple times, but there's these virtual mounted cameras on X-Wings and Y-Wings, and so you get to really get a kind of a backseat view of these ships as they go right into the fray. Director Gareth Edwards does a great job following up on J.J. Abrams' renewed emphasis on using practical effects as much as possible in the film. We see this in the battle scenes when we see real rebels and real troopers, no CGI troopers, and also the aliens that we encounter. They're totally fleshed out and really bring the galaxy to life. My son, one of his big requests is that he really wanted a funny robot. I think he was looking for redemption after they tried to pass off C-3PO as something that was comedic. And so he was richly rewarded with the introduction of K2SO, who was an Imperial droid that was reprogrammed to serve the rebellion. He's a fully realized droid companion for the crew. I honestly forgot that he was CGI. If he was CGI, honestly, I don't even know, and I don't want to know. That's what I loved about this movie. One of the things that was a bit lacking in Rogue One is character development. Most of the characters at the end of the film remain unchanged from who they were at the beginning. Now, the one exception to that is Cassian Andor, who's played by Diego Luna, but more on that later. Rogue One has a bit of an ensemble cast. In most Star Wars movies, the story revolves around three main characters who are all but invincible. Rogue One really challenges this safety net because this story happens essentially in the past of our Star Wars timeline, yet none of the characters that are starring in the movie are mentioned in any of the future movies, and so their fate really is unknown. When we saw the prequels, we all knew what was going to happen to Anakin, we all knew what was going to happen to Obi-Wan, we knew they were essentially safe, and so there wasn't a lot of risk there. Now, with Star Wars Rogue One, we really don't know what's going to happen, and it really adds to the stakes because no one is safe. While Rogue One is totally accessible for those who are new to the Star Wars universe, one of the great touch points of the movie is that there are Easter eggs and nods to the greater Star Wars universe all over this film. There's a lot of cameos from characters from other films. In fact, the finale takes us right up to just a few moments before the events of Star Wars A New Hope. As a Star Wars fan, it was a lot of fun to see some of my favorites even show up in this film. It was great. Now, I do want to add some caution. Star Wars has released a lot of footage for Rogue One in their trailers, but they also spent the summer doing some reshoots. As a result, I found that some of the scenes that are in the trailer are either missing from the movie or totally different. When it comes to content, I kind of rolled the dice and took my boys to go see it with me. They're from ages 11 down to ages 6. And it is PG-13, but there's not anything in this film that you haven't seen in other Star Wars films. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of people being killed. Some of that's even in a very personal manner, but there's no cursing, not even any of those PG curses that they slipped into Force Awakens, and there's no sexual content. Now, the overall message of Rogue One is the theme of redemption and of hope. This is right on point with the rest of the Star Wars universe. The movie shows a lot of the gritty realities of war. We really see the dark side of the rebellion. They aren't just freedom fighters, they're kind of quasi-terrorists. Cassian isn't just a soldier, he's an intelligence, so kind of think about like CIA kind of stuff. He has done some things that are really deplorable, and his motivation in this film is redemption. Overall though, the big theme is that of hope. There's a great quote in episode 7 that I love, and it says that as long as there is light, there is hope. And in this film, in the face of insurmountable odds, our heroes hold on to hope. One of the things that our characters say to each other frequently is that rebellions are built on hope. So, let us know what you guys thought. If you saw Star Wars, let us know what you thought about Rogue One. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, I'd love to see what your perspective is on a Star Wars film that's totally standalone and really doesn't rely on anything else. If you love these Mormon movie reviews, we've got some more right over here. You can click that box and see our playlist of all of our other movies that we've done, as well as our most recent one that we did over here for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Thanks a lot, guys. See you at the movies.